I am live. So good evening. It is the 28th of April. I just wanted to share the weekend review here. Just kind of been busy all weekend trying to get that property fixed up. I got some videos coming on that too to share an update on that project. So local market update. We're seeing a lot of not a lot of changes with the higher rates. There's still just a shortage supply of homes for sale in this local market here. I know they're saying some stats in the Southern Belt on lots of inventory coming to the market. We're not seeing it locally here. We're still seeing price increases. It's rough to be a first time home buyer out there, or even a buyer at all. There's not a lot of inventory to choose from. But if you are gonna be looking at it the next few years, I think now is the time to jump in. The reason I say that is rates are high, so there are less buyers in the marketplace right now. There's not a lot of inventory because of the lock-in effect, but I think things are going to get worse because I think ultimately what we're going to see is the Fed is going to have to pivot at some point, and the rates will come down a little bit, and they don't have to go back down to 3%. They just have to get down into the sixes. And then I think this market takes off, and we're going to see a lot of bidding wars again. We're already seeing bidding wars with these higher rates. So I think things could get rougher if the Fed does have to pivot if the economy gets worse. So that's kind of my prediction, but I've been wrong before, so that's my 2 cents. I'll just do a quick share of a screen, and that's gonna just kind of give you some graphs of what we're dealing with, and I'll switch back and kind of share you with stuff I'm running into in the marketplace directly. So share screen. There we go. All right. So this is, we're looking at showings depending. So 10 showings. We were at 14 showings back in 21 and 22. The average, crunching the numbers. I don't know why the internet speed's so slow right now. Not much has changed there. So let's go to new listings. This goes back to 2005. 100,000 is this line across here. We seem to run somewhere between that 70, we'll call it 70 and 80,000 range. 75,000. So between 70 and 80,000 has been kind of the typical since the housing market crash. And then we dip way down to 59. We're coming up a little bit right now for new listings. So that's a good sign. But our overall homes for sale, this is a spring market coming in, 7,800 homes for sale. We have a population of over 3 million in the Twin Cities here, and this represents all of it. Back in 2008, we had about 34,000 homes for sale. So then the pending sales, that's kind of interesting. We're going to dip down to about 45,000 pending sales, and you'll see this trend line here. This kind of puts us right back in that 2012 to 2013 range. It is climbing, so I think we're kind of done with that rate shock, and I think we're going to climb up. And then if rates dip again, we're going to see more and more demand. The days on market hasn't increased. We're at 18. I think we hit the low of right around 11 back in 2022. Those were with the 3% rates, but not a lot of nudge there. I think tripling or doubling the rates, I mean, we should have seen a spike here. We should have seen, my guess would have been prices coming down, but with the lack of inventory, there's no movement on pricing. Month supply of homes, so we're at 2.1 months, and what this means is if you sold every house, or it'd take 2.1 months to sell every house on the MLS, if nothing else were listed. So that kind of gives you a rate of how fast the market's moving. Back in 2008 during the collapse, we were 10 months supply. Then we dipped down to, I think our trend line would be like 3 to 5. A balanced market, they say, is 5 months supply of homes, and that means it's equally balanced for the buyer and seller. One of the reasons they base that off of it takes about 4 to 5 months to build a house. So that just brings equilibrium into the marketplace. But right now they're selling faster than they can be built. If you break this down into price point, which we can dig into it deeper, you would see that really shrink on starter homes and affordable homes. but this just kind of gives you the overall market on what's going on here. Sale price is still climbing. We're at 370. It's just a steady climb up. It kind of petered out here a little bit, flatlined when the rates shot up. But I think people are over that rate shock now. So that's why I think if rates dip down, it's going to be tough to get into a house. And I think house prices are going to shoot up further because we're not building anything right now. Builders aren't speccing. They're a little concerned with the rates. There's a little economic uncertainty right now. So that's my 2 cents on the overall view. I know this varies from market to market, but for the Twin Cities market, now is the time to jump in if you're ready to buy. So I'll stop sharing the screen now. So I put on a starter home last week for sale, and it was in tough shape, right? It was cute, 1960s built, hasn't been updated at all cosmetically, but it was well taken care of. Mechanically in good shape, very sound structure, updated roof. 3 days on the market, we had 5 offers on the table. It went over list price. Some very good offers. So that gives you an idea of the demand if you get into that starter range. Some of the upper end stuff is sitting a little bit when you start getting up over $1 million. So those are a little slower. The good ones, the prize properties, obviously, good properties always sell if they're priced right in good condition. You don't have to give them away, but you do have to price them carefully when you start getting up in that price point a little bit. But the starter homes are just, there's such a shortage of them. And then rentals. So there's a big demand for housing in general. So I've got a bunch of rental properties I own and manage, and I've got one I put on, and that's a 3-bedroom. It's a little townhouse. It's in a good area, and it's right around $2,000 a month, which is a little bit light, but fair rent. It's not like grossly underpriced. 2 days on Zillow, over 45 inquiries. And now I can't figure out how to get people in there to show it, because there's a renter in there right now and she's in the process of moving. So that creates challenges. But so that shows you the level of demand out there for people that need housing. And we're going to have a bigger crisis. These rates are, like I said, preventing builders from building new inventory. We're going to have a short-term oversupply of the higher-end apartments. They've built the luxury end apartment buildings, where I think we'll see vacancy rates shoot up in that, but that doesn't really reflect what's going on in the single-family vacancy rate market. I've got a couple other units available. Higher-end market, we'll probably pin this house price at $650, $700 maybe. Nice newer construction. I'm renting that one out, and we had, in 2 days, 3 inquiries, and 2 of them were out-of-state relocation and just submitted an application without seeing it. They're ready to rent sight unseen. So there's demand for all levels of housing, especially rentals. So yeah, get in while you can, because I don't think this is going to get better once we get through these higher rates. And I don't know how long these rates are going to last, maybe another year, maybe a couple years, who knows. But I think ultimately what'll happen is the Fed will have to use its tools again to cut rates to get the economy going. Right now, inflation's hot. The economy seems to be going. I know people are struggling with the inflation. Everyone's paycheck to paycheck. Everyone's getting pinched. So there's some pain ahead, but ultimately they're going to break something, and then they're going to have to lower rates to get the economy going. And at that point, we're off to the races again, and I think prices will skyrocket again. But they're not going down. There's still multiple offers, and they're still going up. So then that's what I got on that topic. Now we jump into the National Association of Realtors settlement. So there was some news updates this week on that one. Home Services of America settled for $250 million. The brokerage I work at, Home Services of America, owns that one, and so that was the last holdout on that settlement. Fannie Mae and FHA put out a statement that buyer paying realtor commissions do not impact the IPC, the interested party contributions. Fannie's statement was a little vague. Obviously, they're not committing to it now till the deal is finalized. And but that's good news if buyers are looking to wrap in their commission if they need representation. Notorious Rob, he's been following this a lot, and I've kind of talked about him before. He had a couple posts out there in his latest YouTube video, and usually I agree with him. You know, he bashes the industry pretty good, and you know, there is a case to bash this industry, but this one, he says the average agent, his case is too many bad agents are diminishing the realtor's value, right? There's too many terrible agents in the marketplace, and his argument, if I'm paraphrasing it, if I'm wrong, Rob, you can correct me, but that the commissions are too high, so that attracts all these people that get rich like a gold rush, and you get a flood of people in the marketplace. But capitalism should suggest that the more you have entering the marketplace, that will lower commissions. But then the argument is that National Association Realtors makes you become a member to the MLS, and the MLS locks you into commissions that the seller pays. Okay, so anyhow, the court case was lost, so here we are. The average agent in Orange County sells 3 houses per year, or most agents sell 0 houses. So that was in his Substack article. He also mentioned it on his YouTube video. So that assumes that every realtor out there is in the marketplace selling houses to the consumer, which clearly is not true. It's not even remotely true. So you have home builders, you have investors, you have property managers, you have retired agents, you have appraisers that are on the MLS. So you have all these industries that use that database and are realtors on the MLS that are attributing to that 3 sales. So you really got to break that down. So it's not as bad as he's depicting, right? He does make a case there, and there is a point there, but it's not nearly as bleak as the stats he's showing there, because there's so many others that do not do the transactional, consumer-based traditional realtor model. They are members because they're in some aspect of the real estate industry, and they need access to the data, and that shows as they're a realtor. So to say that they're all in the marketplace, no, that's not correct. So then his argument is clients will make sure that their realtors get paid. So he's saying, well, it doesn't matter that the seller doesn't pay the commission now, because the consumer loves their agent and will make sure that the agent gets paid. Yeah, I don't think so. I think there was a restaurant in Seattle, I think that's where that was at, where the business model was pay what you feel it was worth, and it's kind of a free will donation or suggested payment. Well, obviously it went broke right away because people went in and ate for free and didn't pay. So to say that they're just going to make sure that the realtor gets paid, it's not true, like he says. Then he was kind of flippant about, if an agent does lose a transaction, the good agents will have another 30 buyers right behind them and to fill the gap. Well, that's kind of the case now. So if you get into buyers, agents showing buyers with no guarantee on a paycheck from the seller side and no teeth in a buyer contract on the buy side, even though the settlement says that you have to have a buyer rep agreement signed, we don't know the devil in the details on what that buyer contract states. So then does that make an agent say a 10% chance of not getting paid, 20, 30, 40, 50% chance on not getting paid? How much work would you do for a chance on not getting paid? So what that does is it's going to change the business if that's the case. We don't know how these contracts are going to come out and how the consumer favors it. There's a good chance that nothing really changes and everything goes on normally. But his argument is the clients will make sure the realtors get paid. Well, no, it doesn't work that. If anyone, even your own mother will take advantage of a free lunch, right? Everyone loves a free lunch. So I just don't think that's a little naive to say that's how it's going to happen. There are agents that will figure out how to make sure to get paid to do good service, and so that aspect of it. But the way he phrases it, no, that's not going to happen. There will just be less people that are willing to work with buyers. and now we're into such a shortage of supply. A good buyer's agent is, everything you need right now. With the lack of inventory, you don't just walk in and represent yourself. The seller's agents, if you're in this industry, you'll get an idea when you're working with a party and you have another good agent on the other side of the transaction. That makes that transaction go so much easier, right? If you have a good professional on the other end, they're monitoring everything that goes on that end. There's communication flowing back and forth. If you're representing both in a dual agency, there's twice as much work because you have to check with everything, and everything has to be. It's not, you don't cut the commission in half because now you've doubled your workload. You definitely don't need the full commission, but you don't cut it in half. So that's going to be interesting to see how that market plays off. But I love listening to his stuff because he's so opinionated and it's fantastic. But and I don't disagree with him all the time, but this one I do disagree with him on, and I think he's a little naive on how the consumer works and how the business operates. The other thing that I found interesting is realestatenews.com. They posted an article, and the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, it's a small organization. They represent more than 18,000 Black real estate professionals. So they made an issue in this publication that the Blacks are going to be disproportionately affected by this commission change, because the buyers are oftentimes first-time home buyers, don't have a lot of money, or they're first-generational buyers, and they don't have the resources to pay the buyer's agent. So they have an issue with this settlement and that reason. So they do raise a point there, and I don't know if it's specific to race, because I think all first-time home buyers, I think the millennial generation and Gen Z is getting kind of screwed over on this, because they don't get that commission built in. But anyhow, my thought is disparate impact, right? So you can't have any real estate laws or rules or practices that disproportionately impact another group over another. So primarily, like if you target race, like if it impacts a race over another race, or one race is favored over another race, that's disparate impact. So that's a big no-no. So there's some lawsuit bait. If there's any greedy lawyers out there that want to take a class action suit, we can go right back into this too, because I think there probably is a case for that if you want to dig into it. So I found that kind of interesting. So we'll see where that one goes. And that's about what I got right now. I've been eyeing a little bit of this Michael Sayer on Bitcoin. I don't know much about Bitcoin, but he's making some bold predictions. So there's a lot of stuff moving in the economy or economics on, where does the dollar go? What does that do to interest rates? And so I'm getting a lot of information here. I was going to have a friend jump on here, and we were going to have a discussion on this because he knew more about Bitcoin. I just had it in my notes here. So that's what I got. Obviously, this week's going to be interesting. We'll see where the economy goes, see where rates go. We'll get some more market update and just kind of keep plugging along. But lots of opportunities out there. If you're going to jump in the market, I think now is the time. I think it's going to get much harder to be a buyer come after July here, when the new rules come in for real estate, and when interest rates at some point will drop down. I think there's going to be a lot more competition in the future. So if you're thinking of doing it, I would jump in now. So my 2 cents. Have a good week. Talk to you later.